Thank you for watching this brief PSC first generation mud floor waterproofing install for tiled showers. We will illustrate an example of a 3260 or smaller center drain installation. Trace an approximate 4-inch outline on the floor for your drainage plumbing and cut out with a jigsaw or other appropriate tool. The 6-inch base of the drain flange will need full support at the subfloor. Trim and set a piece of steel reinforcing lath to fit your space. Be sure to leave at least a 6-inch diameter area free around the drain opening for your drain flange to seat directly onto the subfloor. Test fit your drain flange to ensure proper connection to your 2-inch PVC or ABS plumbing pipe. It must properly connect while fully seating to the base of the subfloor. After a satisfactory test fit, use the appropriate PVC or ABS glue products to permanently bond the 2-inch pipe into the drain flange outlet. This mock-up shows how you will lay sticks around a clamping drain flange. You should avoid span distances of more than 24 to 30 inches between sticks. Although we only show 6-pitch sticks in this photo, average showers usually employ 8 sticks total with at least 1 stick centered between 2 corners. Very large showers will need additional sticks. Large showers and showers with offset drain locations will also need available extension sticks. Cut each stick so that the larger end contacts the corner or wall and the small end sets off from the drain flange about 1 inch as shown in the photo. On rectangular floors or floors with offset drains, the sticks will vary in length and respective height where they meet the wall or corner. Some installers will either snap a horizontal line around the perimeter from where the longest stick meets its corner, or use a level as shown in this video. Shorter stick runs can then be shimmed up to the line or level point as shown in this example. Although shimming is not absolutely necessary since minimum slope is correct in every direction, it can allow for easier and better looking tiling work. For this type of installation, you will need to glue or screw the pitch sticks into place to prepare for mortar packing. High quality construction adhesive is used by many installers to lock the sticks into place. After all shim work and final positioning of pitch sticks is complete, it's time to pack the floor with a dry pack mortar mix. Most installers use a mix of 4 or 5 parts sand to 1 part Portland cement. You don't want to use mixes that include gravel or other additives. You should thoroughly mix a small batch with just enough water so that you can form a snowball in your hand, but one that can be easily crumbled as shown. For illustration, we will show dry packing in a floor with our Gen 2 drain flange. Dump your completed mix into a section of the shower floor, then start your next batch. Continue dumping batches into separate quadrants of your floor. When you believe you have combined and dumped enough dry pack mix, you may start packing the mortar floor. Any excess mix can be scraped out of the shower area or additional mix may be added toward the end. Use a trowel or straight edge to start moving and packing the mortar mix into the floor. Focus first on firm packing and general shape. At the end, you'll use a straight edge for final slope smoothing. When floor packing is complete with an allowance for a slight excess of mortar mix on top, begin the final screed using the slope sticks as a guide. Use a square stick as shown or any other straight edge like a level to work a smooth slope between each section of pitch sticks. The straight edge only needs to be long enough to bridge the widest span between 2 pitch sticks. Once the final screed is complete, mist or sprinkle additional water over the top of the floor and carefully complete a final surface finish with a trowel or flat tool. Be careful not to disturb or distort your slopes. Do not use too much water or you'll cause your dry pack mix to collapse or slump out. Here we show the clamping style drain flange fully bedded into the dry pack mortar mix. When properly completed, the pitch sticks may be slightly visible from the top view. However, they should never stick up proud of the surrounding concrete floor sections. After the dry pack mortar floor is hardened, we will install the flange flashing adapter which allows the clamping drain system to be used with modern surface waterproofing membrane. Start by removing the riser and clamping plate, but leave the bolts in place. Then pop the flashing into place by forcing the bolts through the holes of the flashing. Apply a generous bead of silicone sealant or Noble Sealant 150 between the flashing and the drain flange. Install the top clamping plate, then tighten the 4 bolts first by hand and then with a tool. Rethread the riser assembly back into the drain flange. Draw an outline around the flashing to mark the distance you'll need to apply thinset. Apply 3/16 inch notched trowel thinset mortar underneath the flashing completely around the drain flange. Use the flat edge of the trowel to force the flashing into the thinset mortar while pushing the excess out at the perimeter. The flashing is flexible and you may pull on it if you experience a challenge with wrinkles. If necessary, you may also temporarily loosen the bolts for further positioning. Be sure to immediately retighten the bolts after the flashing is set. After the dry pack mortar floor has hardened, begin the waterproof phase by applying 3/16 inch notched modified thinset mortar into the corners and install the inside corner pieces. Force the corners squarely into place and push out excess thinset with a small trowel or straight edge. Long edges are addressed by measuring the proper length of 5-inch band membrane, folding it straight down the middle, then forcing squarely into the notched modified thinset mortar. A handicap curb was used in this installation, but different types of curb installations will be shown in separate videos. As seen in this view, membrane band is installed in the vertical edge joints as well. If you run out of band membrane, you can cut your own from the large sheet. Measure and mark out a section for a piece cut from the large roll of WP membrane. Then work the area with 3/16 inch notched modified thinset mortar. Then position the sheet into place and press into the mortar. You want to achieve 100% contact to the mortar with no air pockets, so work out the excess first with your hands and then with a straight edge. Repeat the process for all additional areas to be covered while observing a 2-inch overlap from section to section. After all wall sections are completed, apply 3/16 inch notch modified thinset mortar onto the dry pack floor pan area. The thinset mortar should be worked up to the edge of the drain flange. Unthread and remove the riser and construction cover. Using membrane that you have already cut and prepared, position membrane into the mortar on the floor and apply the same techniques to seat into place. For larger shower floors that span beyond 40 inches in both dimensions, you'll need to cut and trim another membrane piece that will overlap the first one by 2 inches. Feel and locate the 4 bolts through the membrane and carefully trim out a section of membrane around the bolts to expose the flange. Very carefully trim a circumference of membrane near the edge of the flange. Be very careful not to cut off of the edge and into the grade transition flashing below. Tuck the membrane underneath the edge of the flange. Double check the membrane's secure bond where you've cut. Thread the riser and construction plug back into the flange to the height of your installed floor tile. Dry fit a piece of floor tile to check the riser height and position. It is safe for the construction cover and dry fit tile to be even, where the installed tile will be slightly higher. Whether you build a curb with 2x4s and concrete board, or formed concrete, or foam, it will need to be wrapped with the waterproof membrane as shown in this example. Curb runs that are longer than the width of the membrane will need a standard 2-inch overlap when adding the additional piece. Conventional curbs should get an outside corner at adjacent wall locations. Be sure to make a final check on all sides of the riser to ensure a perfect installation. You may wait for the thinset mortar to harden first, or you may begin carefully tiling if you're able to do so without disturbing your waterproof installation. If you would like additional detailed instruction, please visit our other shower and tub installation videos.